Assalamualaikum students. So in this video, I'm going to be doing one of the narratives with you. The prompt of which is write a story about someone who eventually realized he was all alone. Let's see how one such topic can be crafted. Here is a final draft in front of you of this topic, for which we already have to have a fray tag planned in advance. How are you going to prepare your fray tag? I'm going to come back to this in just a while. Let's begin with the story first. Write a story about someone in which he realized he was left all alone. This is the story of Kedihara Kazuha, whose name himself meant 1,000 maple leaves. I would like to draw your attention to the point about maple leaves, which are no ordinary. Maple leaves have several connotations, not that they are only crimson, bright red, but also that they grow against nature. My dear students, when all other leaves begin to die and decay, maple leaves begin to grow. Such was the meaning of the name of our character, Kedihara, who was a young, ambitious wanderer. He walked with a graceful gait. He was walking, seemed grief-stricken, which is upset. He was wearing a long brown trench coat sluggishly hanging over his robust figure. His eyes gleamed in the starry night. I want to highlight a point here about gleaming. If the eyes are gleaming, it you see indicates maybe they are teary, they are watery. So at this point in time, we find that his eyes are watery. They are reflecting his sorrow. On his face is a red dyed hair lock, which looks vibrant. Why the red dyed hair is looking vibrant? Because his face is pale at this point in time. His eyes are teary, gleaming, and his face is looking pale. Is what does pale face imply? Is he scared of something? Is he flushed of his energy? Or is he sick? We are going to find this out in the end, towards the middle and in the end of the story. So his red dyed hair lock seemed to be the only reminiscing muscle in his cold white chamber of heart. This is metaphoric. When you say that your heart is all cold and white, it means it is devoid of any feelings or emotions. He seems to be lost in his thoughts. He came walking and then he sat on a seashore. He's all alone, that is, he is in solitude, and he settles on a big, warm, sun soaked rock which was towered by station maple leaves. Here is some imagery of the setting, the place where the story is set. You will find details of imagery, the time of the day, and the other elements around him. It says an enormous mountain peak serenely sloped downwards to the desolate valleys, hinting he's all alone. Around him is Zephyr, the wind of the sea, carrying some familiar misty scent. There's some scent which seems familiar to Edihara. And there are leaves floating, seems to be carrying some eerie memories. Be mindful of the use of the word eerie memories here. What strange memories do these leaves carry? What has happened over here? The author has not revealed it yet. If we draw this illustration, it might seem like a hilly zone. And here is some river where maple trees are stationed, and the zephyr, the air here carries some familiar musk, and the leaves floating in the river seems to be carrying some eerie, strange, scary memories. We yet do not know what has happened. And here, on a sun-soaked rock, comes Kedihara and settles. You will see in this entire story, he will remain glued to this point. And the story will take a whole shift in the ideas. Para number two. Technically, we call this rising action. What has happened in the story? It was the season of autumn when the red maple leaves have come to life. I informed you they grow against the nature, they grow in autumn. The weather was bringing a sense of comfort and coziness to the people. But Kadihara seems to be casted back, drawn back to the previous day, when on the same day his beloved best friend has fallen for eternal rest. Fallen? Do you use normally the word fallen for someone who is beloved? Or has the author mindfully used the word fallen here? Let's find out this as well. It was the time of the day when his friend has fallen for eternal rest, meeting a dreadful end. Something has happened to his friend who has met a dreadful end. His friend and he himself were two wanderers. You have to have this thing clear in mind. Wanderers will have no permanent settlements. They keep on moving on in search of favorable situation. Such was Kaidihara. You will see a character evolving towards climax and end. He and his friend who have died recently have been through all the ups and downs in life. They have been wandering together and hence exchanged poetries. They have seen weathers together and have drenched in rain. If anyone has been upset, they have been there for each other to comfort or serenade. And most importantly, they were no naive, nice people. They have even been scheming together. They have even been plotting together. Plotting, scheming carries negative connotation. So this is not a story of some people who are nice, scholarly, naive. ठीक है? There is some element of malignant personalities in them. Let's find it out. Then we move to para number three, the climax. You see, in the entire and until yet, Kedihara is still settled here. And he is just thinking. He is thinking about his friend. What has happened a day back? Para number three, climax. Kazuha was broken out of his deep thoughts from the sudden rustling of leaves and thinking for long, reminiscing, and then remembering everything that has happened in the past made him realize a few things. Please be mindful of the speech marks. Now it is set in speech marks. Uppercase is not supposed to be something more striking. What I want you to more focus is on speech marks, which indicates these are probably dialogues. If he's thinking about Albert, about his friend, then these must be the dialogues of his because it does not say that he is uttering, it's not a monologue. So he is thinking about what his friend said, that real faces lie deep behind innocent faces. Expectation in the life is there should be nothingness accepted. There is nothing from the life you should expect. And everything in the life will change. It's transitory. At any cost, life must go on. You see, he's thinking about what his friend used to say. This sudden realization instilled a flickered and instilled a sense and restored him to normal. I want you to add a bit of details here. His face, his face now, okay, I want you to add here some details before he rises screaming. I would appreciate if you can add details about his face now had a pair of red rimmed eyes. You remember earlier his eyes were teary, he was crying, but now his eyes seemed red rimmed. Has he stopped crying? Now he is screaming. He gets up He screams, I can no longer put on this fake face. I can no longer put on this mask. What do you mean by mask? Dear students, was it all fake? Was he just pretending to be upset? And is he really not? Is that the case? Why could he be pretending if he was all alone? Masquerade means mask, a facade, a fake face. Is he putting up a fake face? Why when he was all alone? This is what we find out in the shift of story that he is now rehabilitated. Para number 4 begins. Crying his heart out soothed his mind. Now, since he has been crying for long, we read it in P1, he is now soothed, so much so that he dozes off for a while. And later, he was awakened when he felt a sudden frenzy among the chirping of birds. There is a chaos, there's disturbance, there is noise which he could sense. The zephyr, the pleasant wind, has now turned into howling gales. The waves seem to be monstrous and crashing. This is a dramatic shift in the story. Like there's a dramatic shift in this character who, from a pale face, has now turned to red rimmed eyes on his face. He screams and he stares at the rising currents. उस पानी को देख के which has gained currents which he sees are in the open sea, he says, now he says, I want you to please edit here, add inverted commas. He says, बस बहुत हुआ. I must too now rise and reach the summit of my strength and success. कोई नहीं रोक सकता मुझे. I want to reach to the heights. His, he was now no more trembling. He was now no more cold and pale. His now hands are steady and warm. You see, there is a dramatic change, not only in the atmosphere and the other elements, but in himself as well.